Alright, what I'm trying to do now is identify this movement. These movements, the cases are bad. There's no way that I'm going to use them, so these are going to be categorized with my movements. This watch right here, this movement right here, is one that does not have any sort of marks on it. Actually, if I can bring it in closer, zoom in. It's somebody just hand engraved stuff on there. There is a GP mark right over here. Nothing under the balance, nothing under the dial. So now I have to go on the hunt to find out what this movement is so that I can put it with the other parts movements just in case I need it for another watch and I don't have to go out and purchase one. So I'm going to start out with talking about Bestfit. Now I have Matsey's, their lifelong subscription. I'm going to set these aside real quick because I don't want them falling on the floor. And I've had these, this one's missing the cover. This was my original one and that started to fall apart. These are all, you can see, they get a lot of use. I think this one was new when I got it, but this is all part one. But I've got one over here. And then they got a part two. You can see I've got pages in here, but I don't need anything from this one right now because that's newer watch. This watch is old enough that it's going to be in part one. So the beauty of the Bestfit book is the way you can use it. First of all, you've got the watch parts here. This tells you the names of all the watch parts just in case you need to know. More, and then we get into this part. I'm going to get into this part next. If you know what your movement is, then what you can do is this will tell you, bring this over here, you can see the staff, balance staff, and this will tell you the number of the staff that you need. Stems, same thing with stems, if it's a split stem or a full stem. Pallet arbor, that's the roller. Balance, complete, and you can just go down here depending on, you look at the caliber of the watch, so that's Betlock, and then you could say you need a 1469. This is a mainspring, and then it tells you the mainspring Denison number and the Samson mainspring number, and then the white alloy number over here. And you can do that. The mainspring Denison will actually tell you the dimensions, 9 by 11, 11 and a half. Okay, but what I'm trying to do right now, so you can go through Felsa, Hellbros, Lamania, they got Volcane. Okay, now here's where I want to be. And just go through the rest of the book real quick. Okay, so this is just stuff that I was looking for parts for a Omega caliber 861. And there used to be, 25 years ago, a watch supply house that I could just drive to. So I would just go there. I was fixing this watch for someone, and then I wrote down the prices of how much everything cost at the time, and I could just drive there, and you can see I highlighted and say, okay, I need part 1792, 2245, movement, and then there was the case number for that particular watch. Just other stuff. Here's a page that fell out, and then you go into automatics is the next selection here, and it will show you, like, this is a bumper, show you this is a Colt, and these come in handy. Okay, what one is this? It's probably still the same thing. Anyway, these watch movement list from February of 1995, still automatics here. And then after automatics you go into calendars. So calendar movement listing, dictionary, these are going to be the parts for the calendars, and then again you just find the movement that you're looking for. So there's the Colt again, Movado. These are all calendars, and then you go into chronographs over here. So you can see Unitas. You got Movado over here. And then you go into the timers. And more timers, clocks. And I know people who are big book people say I should pick it up like this and bring it gently over, and pick it up like this and bring it gently over, but this book, all my books, these, when I got the new one, I was a kid, and so I was just flipping through blah 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 blah, but it's kind of got past the point where I need to be delicate. Okay, wrist alarm movements. So these are alarms right now. These are electric watches. Electric watch movement dictionary here. Remember, I don't think this goes into Accutrons or tuning fork watches. I usually don't have any reason to go all the way in the back. Okay, here's interchangeability parts. This does come in handy here. So if you got a font, you have 2144. The Bosch number is 425, 440. So you can use font 2124. Well, 2144. It looks like you got one option, and that's 2124. Here's another page that came out. And then we go into balance staffs here. And so this just goes into the measurements of the balance staffs that you would need. And this is more balance staff, Bestfit Master Staff System. Because Bestfit used to have they sold parts too, so they have their own numbers that they would use if you wanted to order a part from them, if they had it. Okay, so these are stems. Now went from staffs to stems. Here's more stems. This is balance complete now. Pallet arbors. This is roller interchangeability here. These are stems. These are split stems here. Pallet arbor, roller variations, and then these are hands. And here's electric watches here. How the 505 works, the old Hamilton 505. Right. Anyway, okay, so now let's get on with the hunt. So there's the movement. Okay, there's the movement, but where did I put the tweezers? Because what I'm going to need to do is pick up these things right here. And, oh, here's my tweezers. Okay. So these are the parts that I'm going to need. And what I'm looking for is this movement. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is find out the size. So I'm going to go, it's this way, over here. And you can see the circles. So this is a 17 line right here. This is definitely not a 17 line movement. Put that right there for now. Now when these were made, obviously there was no internet, so it's helpful that, with the exception of showing the the plates, the underside of the plates for automatics and chronographs, they don't show it for just a standard movement. All right, so here's what I'm going to do first. I want to find out what the line size is. So this says 9 3/4. Let me see if I can zoom in and show that. So that's, the movement's too big. That's not right. Now what we have is, well, no, what I want to do, that's kind of one on top of the other, but it's the same thing as this. So you got 10.5 lines and 11.5 lines. I'm going to put 10.5 line. Oh, geez. I guess I should have taken these out, but I thought I could keep the stem in there. Okay, now that's out of the way. So this looks like it's going to be a 10.5 line. 11.5 is too big, and there really is no 10. So 9 3/4 is too small. Now the 3 parts I'm going to need are the set bridge. Now you can see here, you can see like a picture, you got the set bridge, you got the set lever, and you got the yoke. So here is my bridge, my yoke, and my set lever. Now what I'm going to do is try to find, starting down here where the 10.5 line is, to see if I can find one that looks like it. So I'm nothing down there. Let me zoom out again. I mean, everything gets smaller when I zoom out, but you can see more of what I'm doing. All right. Maybe what I'll do is, well, I don't want to do that. I was thinking about putting this on a white piece of paper so you could see it easier. So going along here, it's easy enough to see this isn't matching up with that. I'm going to move this because when I turn the page, it's all going to fall off and I'll never be able to find it again. Okay, go along, 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 along. Down here, you can see this one only has 2 screw holes. So I have to make sure that, you know, something may look similar but has 3, and that's not going to be it. So there's nothing on that page. And now since I'm going to move the book, I got to move these 2 pieces. Okay, so now I'm going to be over here. Nothing in a car. No, that's got too many holes. Felsa. Felsa. Font. Okay, this, okay, here's one that looks like it could be, let me see. It's got the 2 holes, it kind of, let me make sure I've got this thing the right way up. Okay. Where's my the Fegma was the one I was looking at here. So the idea is to put this so it matches up exactly. Where's Fegma? So you can see Figma looks pretty good. Now, okay, whoops. Looks good. I don't see a hole in that. And as you can see, the set lever has a hole. It has to have a hole. I don't know. Well, unless it pivots from... There are some that are push button that you push on the underside and it just lifts it up in order to get the stem in and out. So I'm assuming that's what that's going to be, because everything else shows a hole. So unfortunately, if that's one that you push up, because everything else looks pretty good. All right, let's move on. Because it could be there's another Fegma right here. All right, that looks good. Now that looks a lot closer. And of course, because the book is the way it is, everything's going to kind of roll around. I don't know, everything looks pretty good. Alright, so right now it looks like it could be a Fegma 520, but I am not done. I'm going to just keep doing a search just in case, so what I'm going to do right now is write down Fegma 520. Because once I'm done playing with this part of it, I'm going to go online and try to see what the movements are. So if this just says it's the Fegma 520, then I'm going to kind of just stick with that, unless the picture looks completely different when I go online. All right, so right now Fegma 520. All right, keep going down the line here, see what else looks like that. Nothing over there. I need to move these. It's easy when they don't look anything like that. I don't like anything that I'm working with. I keep hearing something move. Movements under there. All right. Let me look at that one. That is a Press and Max. That looks good. Gotta get this stupid thing flipped over. It doesn't want to cooperate. There it goes. Come on. I don't think it fits as well as the other one. Grab this little guy here. I don't know if there's a hole there or not. Let me. Also, I'm not looking straight down on the book, and the camera is at an angle as well, so it's kind of hard to tell where the holes line up. But I don't think the bridge looks okay. Let's try this Press-A-Max here. It looks the same. Of course, this stupid thing flipped over again. Now the hole in that looks a lot bigger. Right now it's looking closer to the Fegma than the Press-A-Max. And of course this goes, let's see, this is correct because, where's my movement here? So this would be over here. There's where the set lever goes, which means that the set lever, yeah, that's right, okay, because the yoke goes over here on the set bridge, that's right. Okay, so we got the Press-A-Max. So okay, Press-A-Max 250, Press-A-Max 450, and then the Fegma, I think it was 250, I don't remember right away, I wrote it down, but. So the Press-A-Max 250, Press-A-Max 450, and the Fegma. And let's see, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so here now we get down to 12. This is not 12, so I gotta find something over here. Otherwise, it's either the Fegma or the Press-A-Max. Nothing. Okay, so those are my options. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go online. Now back in the day before all this, the internet, you kind of just relied on this. You couldn't go in and type up Press-A-Max 450 and see what the movement looks like. So anyway, all right, now hopefully it is one of those three. All right, here's a picture I took with the microscope. You can see right by the escape wheel it says GP. Now initially I thought maybe that stands for Girard-Perregaux, but the logo does not match, or the assembling does not match. And also when I checked Girard-Perregaux's stuff in the book and the Encyclopedia Bestfit, it just didn't work out. So this I ruled out. Alright, now it's time to compare what I found in the book with what I have here online. This is the Press-A-Max 450 and it looks absolutely nothing like it, so we can roll out the 450. Now we look at the Press-A-Max 250, and if you look at the bridges, they do look very familiar. The patterning of them does, not exactly. This one does have the Press-A-Max 250 does have the sweep second wheel and pinion, and the cock or the bridge to hold that pinion in place. And then the Fegma 500, they didn't have a picture of the 520, I would imagine they're the same, but you'd also see that this Fegma looks almost exactly like the previous 250. So, and I think that the description said that they were almost identical. So I honestly don't know if what I have is a version of the Fegma or realistically what I have. Now here's comparing all three of them. As you can see, the Pressmax and the Fegma look almost exactly alike, but neither of them look like mine. So I really don't know. Sometimes it's a failure.